Yo, what's up guys? First off, I want to thank everyone who has subbed so far. We are super close to 1,000 subscribers. If you guys could hit that sub button for me, it would mean the world to me. Without any more yapping, let's get into the video, starting with bronze. My tip for bronze is to simply play the game more. My guess is that if you're stuck in this rank, it's because you have a lack of knowledge of what each character does. Simply knowing what each character does will help you out. So if you really are struggling, I recommend expanding your hero pool and trying out different characters to find what you like best and to understand how they all work. This alone will take you a long way if you are in bronze. One other thing is a mechanical skill. And while this is something that applies to every rank, the marginal benefit you will get from practicing mechanics, for example aim or combos with no previous knowledge or training, will heavily boost your performance. Do these and you'll get out in no time. Now on to silver. The biggest problem I see in silver is not understanding how the game should be played from an objective stance. You need to understand that in the end, it's an objective game, meaning you must capture the point or push the payload, etc. So the key here is understanding how to play your role in the maps. If you're a long-range damage dealer like Hela, consider taking an off angle so your whole team isn't just shooting from one direction. If we play mobile characters like Psylocke, you probably want to contest flank angles and get to the enemy supports. If you are a non-dive tank, you should probably be the one contesting the point and payloads. Now let's say you are on a convoy map. You want to be holding corners because the enemies have to swing into your line of sight. So you don't want to push up as a team in the middle of a long lane because it's also hard to back up. Think about it. If you are up in the enemy's face and you or your team runs out of shield, you then have to walk backward in a straight line while getting pelted from the enemy team. Whereas in a corner, you can quickly step back, recharge resources, and get healing. So try to anchor the corners and rotate around those as they are the strongest positions to hold on this map type example. Going off some basic map fundamentals, I've also noticed lower ranked players tend to stagger themselves, which means they're going in one at a time and not as a full team. It's way easier to win fights when you are patient and have numbers. Remember, this is a team game after all, so yeah, play with your team, understand your role in the team, and understand how you can use the map to your advantage. Sorry for the interruption, but real quick I want to announce that I have made a Discord server. I am looking to make videos where I VOD other people's gameplay, so if that interests you or you just want to connect with other players, feel free to join, link is in the description. With that out of the way, let's move on to gold. By far, the biggest issue gold players have is ultimate usage and management, as well as overextending. So let's start with ults. It's crucial you understand what your ult is good for. For example, let's take what I consider to be the best ult in the game, Luna Snows. In general, you want to be saving this for heavy damage DPS ults, but probably don't want to use it for an ult that can one-shot your team. So if I'm playing Luna and I know the enemy Psylocke has ult, I'm going to save mine to counter her ult, and then since it lasts pretty long, my team can counter push with the remainder of my ult. So first off, know what your ult is good for, and understand the situations in which you should use it, leading to my other point, which is over-ulting. Try to recognize when a fight is won and if it will be won. For instance, if your team pops 2 ults and the enemies are already down a player or 2 and have no support ults, don't waste yours. Far too often I see teams go overkill with their ults and then immediately lose the next fight because they have nothing. Similarly to over-ulting is overextending. You got to know your limits. This is especially prominent in a lot of struggling dive DPS players. They overcommit with no cooldowns or abilities to bail them out of the fight, or initiate a fight while not having all their cooldowns ready, and then they end up feeding. So on an individual level, you need to play your life. But also, as a team, this kind of goes back to what I was saying in silver about playing the objective. You don't want to go too far and make risky plays. The most common outcome is either you die or you trade for one person, which can be good, but you also need to take into account who will respawn first and get back to the fight faster, and if your kill is worth you dying for it. If you're patient and don't overextend, there's almost always an outcome where you can get a kill and live, which is the best case scenario. Always play your life, and don't go chasing for something that's risky and ultimately does not have a super high reward. Plat. Abilities, thoughtful thinking, and positioning. This is where I imagine most people find the toughest roadblocks, and this is because everyone in this rank is on autopilot. This is a crucial rank where you need to figure out how to outplay the enemies, because everyone in this rank probably already understands the game fundamentals that I talked about in the other ranks, but players here lack the playmaking abilities they need. This is probably the hardest skill to learn so far because it's more experience based than anything, but let me try and explain how you need to think in this rank. You need to constantly assess your threats and advantages. So I play a lot of Magic, and there are things I constantly need to keep track of. For example, the enemy Mantis' sleep cooldown, and who are my priority targets, enemy ults that can shut me down, etc. So this is what I mean by thoughtful thinking and abilities. I know the mantis has a sleep, so I need to figure out how to safely bait it out instead of just running it down like an ape. A big key here is knowing all of your matchups and how you need to play into them. This is how you escape being a bot on autopilot. And similarly to this concept of thoughtful thinking is positioning, which is also a form of thoughtful thinking. Think to yourself, what space do I want to attack or hold? What is my character best at here? Where can I be to give me the most opportunity to do my job as my role or get kills? For example, if I'm a healer, I want to be somewhere safe with lots of good escape routes so that enemies have a difficult time getting to me. But I also want good line of sight of my team so I can heal them. If I'm a tank, I want to be an LOS of my healers but also contest important space. If I'm a duelist, I want to find places that will give me the best value or angles to secure kills. Practice acting with intention and you can easily reach Diamond. Diamond. The key to escape Diamond is awareness and synergy. Try communicating with your team more and pick characters that complement each other well. Let's say I'm playing Moon Knight and I have a Groot. I'm gonna ask my Groot to combo his ult with my ult and it's almost a guaranteed fight win if we do it right. And going off what I said in Plat has to do with awareness. Really refine your matchup knowledge to where you know what the enemies will be trying to do and how you can do your plan better or stop theirs. For example, I've been playing a lot of Punisher recently, and on that one map where every strange portals to the high ground behind the site, you know what I'm talking about, I preemptively get in my turret and predict their portal and just end up destroying them. You really need to be thinking one step ahead of your enemies in a micro and macro level. An example of a macro level would be ult tracking, knowing they have something that they will use, so knowing that you need to figure out how you can play around it. Grandmaster. Playmaking and proactivity. Now that you understand how to play the game and your matchups, it's about who can play it better, which is why in this rank you need to communicate and strategize with your team. So a quick example would be being creative with strange portals, like faking it, etc. But one thing that for sure helps is setting the tempo and going first. What I really mean by this is having a plan for every fight. So when I'm on Punisher and I have my ult, I'll literally tell my team, okay, next fight we can open with my ult, so Strange, I need you to shield in front of me, and Supports, I need you to pocket me. Not only am I setting the tempo by having a plan and going first, but I'm communicating with my team to make sure we are all on the same page. This often wins fights straight up, and I have to say, if I didn't calm to my team, I will just ult and get melted immediately as everyone looks at me and my team can't react to protect me in time or are not in position to. Congrats, you made it to eternity. While I can barely speak on this, my advice is to min-max everything. You can't make mistakes ever because you will pay the price for it. On top of that, this is probably the biggest mechanical jump between your ranks, so you really need to refine those skills. Oh, and with the game this way works, in this rank, you'll have to be a meta slave, otherwise you're just disadvantaged. One above all, congrats, you are now the highest rank in the game. But unless you're a rank 1, you can still be better. From my experience in top 500 in Overwatch, there's a bigger difference between a top 10 player and a top 100 player than you could ever imagine. So my advice contains everything mentioned in Eternity with something extra, and that would be joining a tournament team. This is truly how you become the best player you can be, and I actually recommend this to anyone in any rank looking to improve. But at this point, you will not get better unless you compete in highly coordinated competitive settings and really perfect your gameplay in all scenarios. That concludes the video. Let's get to 1,000 subs, and thanks for watching. Peace.